She was Japan's brightest hope, until the palace dimmed her light. Masako Owada gave up everything for love, but the fairy tale she stepped into was no storybook. It was a gilded cage, and behind the palace gates, silence, surveillance, and 17 years of suffering. Could the most educated royal in Japanese history survive a system never meant to support her spirit? This is Crown Buzz Channel. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications. Let's begin. Before she was Empress Masako of Japan, she was Masako Owada, a brilliant, globe-trotting scholar with diplomacy in her blood and ambition in her stride. Born in 1963 to Hisashi Owada, a top Japanese diplomat, Masako spent her formative years moving between power centers like Moscow, New York, and Tokyo. She absorbed languages like a sponge, English, German, French, and of course, Japanese, and quickly developed a keen understanding of international relations. At Harvard, she studied economics. At Oxford, she continued her academic journey. And back in Tokyo, she enrolled in law studies at the prestigious University of Tokyo. Colleagues and mentors saw her as a future ambassador, perhaps even Japan's first female to hold the post. Masako had intellect, charm, and a rare global perspective, a rising star in Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Then, fate stepped in. In 1986, she met Crown Prince Naruhito at a tea party hosted for Spain's Princess Elena. He was immediately captivated by her intellect and poise, unlike anyone he'd met in the stiff world of royalty. But Masako, she paused. She knew what life inside the Imperial Palace meant for a woman like her, and she had every reason to be hesitant. When their eyes met across the room, something shifted. Naruhito, soft-spoken but perceptive, was immediately drawn to her confidence, her wit, her cosmopolitan ease. She wasn't like the other women he'd been introduced to. She spoke fluent English, joked effortlessly, and challenged him without hesitation. For Masako, the encounter was flattering but loaded. She knew what a relationship with the heir to the chrysanthemum throne meant. Behind the palace walls was not a fairy tale, but a fortress, one that had already swallowed Empress Michiko whole. Michiko, Naruhito's own mother, had once been hospitalized for stress-induced voice loss from the relentless pressure of imperial life. Masako feared becoming a similar casualty. So she said no, not once, but twice. Each time, Naruhito returned, not as a prince demanding obedience, but as a man promising partnership. Over the next 6 years, he wrote her letters, arranged discreet meetings, and slowly chipped away at the wall she'd built to protect her independence. In one tender moment, he vowed, "You may have fears, but I will protect you for the rest of your life." In 1993, she finally accepted his proposal. Their wedding was watched by millions. It looked like a dream. But behind Masako's graceful smile, a quiet uncertainty lingered. Was this the beginning of love or the end of freedom? Once inside the palace, everything changed. Masako found herself bound by centuries-old imperial rules. Her voice, silenced. Her public presence, scripted. The lively intellectual woman who once debated foreign policy in English was now reduced to ceremonial nods and bows. But here's where it gets complicated. Japan's Imperial Household Agency, a notoriously secretive and conservative body, began controlling every aspect of her life. Even her reproductive health became a matter of public concern. With no male heir produced in the early years of marriage, pressure mounted. The tabloids pounced. Headlines questioned her fitness. Rumors swirled that she was cold or difficult. Some even whispered she was mentally unstable. What they didn't report? That she was slowly breaking. In 2001, Masako gave birth to Princess Aiko, a beautiful and healthy daughter. But rather than being celebrated, the moment triggered a fresh wave of tension. Japan's imperial succession law only allowed male heirs. Aiko's birth, while joyous, didn't solve the crisis of the dynasty's future. Masako was once again thrust into the role of failing royal wife, unable to produce a son, and increasingly invisible in public life. By 2004, Masako disappeared almost entirely from public events. The Imperial Household Agency claimed she was suffering from adjustment disorder. But insiders and biographers painted a darker picture: depression, isolation, and possible psychological distress. She was, in the words of one commentator, a butterfly trapped in a bell jar. By 2004, Crown Prince Naruhito had seen enough. In a shocking move, one rare in Japan's tight-lipped monarchy, he went public. In a press conference, the usually composed prince criticized the Imperial Household Agency, saying Masako had completely exhausted herself, trying to fit into royal life, and that her career and personality had been denied. It was a bombshell. Royals in Japan simply didn't speak like this, not about internal matters and especially not about their wives. The public was stunned. Some applauded his defense, others wondered if the crown princess would ever recover, but for the first time, Masako wasn't alone. The man she married had kept his promise. He was fighting for her. Still, the system didn't budge. In 2019, after years of rumors and succession speculation, Emperor Akihito abdicated the throne, the first Japanese monarch to do so in over 200 years. The chrysanthemum throne passed to Naruhito, which meant one thing: Masako, the woman once branded unfit and broken, was now Empress of Japan. Yes, Empress? And the world watched, wondering, could she rise? The answer came swiftly. She re-emerged gently but firmly. Her first speech as Empress was gracious, eloquent, and unmistakably Masako. Confident yet careful, dignified yet warm. Her public appearances became more frequent. She smiled more. She even traveled abroad again, something she had been barred from doing for years. But the damage lingered. In private, friends say she is still healing, still guarded, still cautious. And who can blame her? But let's not forget the shadow still looming. Princess Aiko, Masako's only child, remains ineligible to inherit the throne under current law, which means that despite her intelligence, popularity, and royal birth, Aiko is locked out of the line of succession simply because she's a girl. There was a time in the early 2000s when public debate leaned toward reforming the law. Masako's courage and Aiko's birth stirred hopes for a modern monarchy, but those talks quickly died after the birth of a male cousin, Prince Hisahito, in 2006. So the question hangs in the air like a storm cloud. What if Masako had been allowed to shape the monarchy from the inside out? What if Aiko had been born into a system that valued daughters as much as sons? It's a future Japan hasn't yet dared to write. Masako's story isn't just about a woman overwhelmed by royal expectations. It's about a system so deeply rooted in patriarchy and protocol that it nearly crushed the one person who could have redefined it from within. But here's the twist: Masako is still here. She didn't flee, she didn't explode, she didn't even speak out. Instead, she endured. Slowly, deliberately, she's reclaiming space, attending state visits, meeting foreign leaders, smiling, speaking, existing, not as the version the institution demanded, but as herself. And that quiet presence, it's a form of protest, one more powerful than palace drama or tabloid scandals. In a world where royals often fall from grace loudly, Masako rose, gently, with resilience. She is, perhaps, the storm the chrysanthemum throne never anticipated. Not because she defied it outright, but because she survived it. So now we ask you, would you have stayed knowing the cost, or walked away before the gates locked behind you? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay curious.